Spectrum wants to hear your views. You can SMS at any time during the show. Type Spectrum, leave a space, type in your contribution and name, then send it to 7197. Your views, our interviews on Spectrum, Radio 1 FM 90.
Hello, a very warm welcome. This is Spectrum on Radio 1. I'm the host, Edmond Chizeto. On Spectrum tonight, should the judiciary adopt the Small Claims Initiative? And how exactly will it help the public to receive justice? The judiciary has, for several months now, been running a pilot scheme for the new Small Claims Initiative that aims to expedite the delivery of justice and also reduce on-case backlog in courts. According to details emerging, the judiciary has decided to take up the initiative, and now preparations are ongoing to have it launched countrywide. The judiciary continues to face challenges, including having many cases which are not heard, leading to complaints that people are being denied justice. Some of these cases include those that would have been solved without taking legal action or even involving a lawyer. Although the judiciary is ready to take forward this initiative, many members of the public do not understand what it is about and how they can make use of it. It is therefore important for the public to understand the jurisdiction of the small claims court matters which are excluded from the jurisdiction of the system, who can and how to institute a claim. Some lawyers and members of the public have actually opposed this initiative, saying it does not provide essential justice. So tonight, we look at the feedback from the pilot exercise, plus other issues that continue to be raised by you, the members of the public. We'll also take into consideration other issues concerning the judiciary, which you will raise as you take part in this discussion by calling in or contributing via SMS and our Facebook page. Our guest tonight, His Worship Araali Muhiirwa, Chief Magistrate and Assistant PR of the Judiciary. You're most welcome, Mr. Araali.
Thank you very much.
We are also joined by His Worship Vincent Mugabo, Chief Magistrate of the Mengo Magistrates Court. You're most welcome, Mr. Mugabo.
Thank you. Good evening, listeners.
Could you talk to us about this small claim? What exactly is this Small Claims Initiative?
The judiciary has taken initiative to have members of the public, the poor, and the privileged people, to access our courts. For a long time, there has been complaints that justice is for the rich. And when we carried out research some time back, we found out that when we created the commercial court division of the High Court, it is a fast-track court for commercial disputes. We found it working very well. Now, we said, okay, the High Court division is for these disputes which are big people, big companies, big billions of money. So we asked ourselves, we as the judiciary, we have people who come to our courts with small claims which are between 1 shilling and 10 million. And most of these disputes are of commercial nature. Debts, ordinary debts, rent, recovery. So we said, okay, we are going to put in place a system, a procedure that is going to assist our ordinary mwananchi, ordinary citizen, to access justice through the small claims procedure. Now, in other words, this is a fast-track system for an ordinary mwananchi to recover debts, rent, and other issue and other cases of that fall under that this procedure in a very quick manner. It is a fast-track justice system, and we have tested it at the High Court Division, Commercial Court. It has worked. Now we have brought it down so that an ordinary person can also access justice, so that people are able to go to court, file their matter, have it settled within 14 days.
Within 14 days?
Yes.
Take us through the procedure. Exactly how does it work?
It works this way. Number one, the procedure provides that a judge can sit in such a procedure, a chief magistrate or a grade magistrate. Then, when a claimant goes to our court, which is held on small claims procedure, he will fill what we call a demand notice. A demand notice is a simple piece of paper which is designed, of course, again for an ordinary person, illiterate person, a non-associated person. So he will fill that form showing that Mr. So-and-so owes me, let's take an example of 2 million. I sold him 20 bags of beans and he paid me 800,000 and I want to recover 1.2 million. He promised to pay in 2 months, he has not paid out 6 months down the road. So you take that demand notice. The demand notice is free of charge. And if he's illiterate, we have trained clerks who will handle small claims procedure. They will assist such a person to fill in that demand notice. Secondly, we have also trained the clerks in different languages so they can be able to interpret or to understand those litigants so that they can help them to fill those forms. After that, this claimant is supposed to go and serve the demand notice to the defendant. However, the rules also provide that the demand can also be done by telephone, mobile telephone.
You can call him on the phone and speak to them?
It can be done by using a telephone. So, within 14 days, if the other party, the defendant, doesn't respond, then the claimant will come back to the court and now he will file a formal claim. Now, when he files the formal claim, he must have the following. Number one, if there is any agreement or any exhibits, he will attach it to the formal claim. This formal claim is also a designed form. It's not the ordinary plaint that we use in the mainstream courts. It is a form designed which is simplified in simple English. You will fill in your name, the date, who owes you the money, over what service you provided, when was he supposed to pay, how long has defaulted, then you sign. And of course you will include what you are demanding from him. You sign or some print. Now, this claim form will be accompanied by the summons, which will be signed by the magistrate, giving the time, date, and the place where the matter will be heard. Now, the second procedure, after that has been done, these court papers, a claim form, a court summons, and any attachments, if any, will be served to the defendant. And within 14 days, on receipt of these court papers, the defendant has 3 options. Number one, to file a defense saying, I don't know this date. Number two, to say, I know this date, and you settle the matter. Number 3, to put in a counterclaim. To say, yes, Mr. Okero, I owe Mr. Okero 1.2 million. However, he came to my home when his daughter was getting married and took a boo of 500,000. Therefore, the debt is no longer 1.2 million, but 700,000. So he will also come and file in a counter defense. Now, this counter defense, still we have designed a simplified form where he will explain. Ordinarily, I know this amount of claim. However, I paid him off 500,000 when he took my boo, and therefore the amount of money which I owe him is 700,000. In this same procedure, the magistrate is enjoined to allow the parties to settle out of court through alternative dispute resolution. If they don't do that, then the magistrate is enjoined to hear that matter, to hear both parties on that date when they have appeared in court, hear all his witnesses, then give judgment instantly. Why are we emphasizing on simplicity? Number one, because litigation in courts has an implication on the economy. the economy at the micro level, at the family, at the individual level, at the family level, at the community level, and at the national level. Therefore, the amount of time you take in litigation, you are not producing.
Right.
You are not in the garden.
Yes.
You are not in the small shop.
So we want to make it really quick.
So we want to make it as short as possible.
All right. We'll get into more detail on that. Let's hear from Mr. Mugabo right now. How has the pilot scheme gone?
Thank you very much. For Mengo, this is what I can speak for, because the pilot is in several chief magistrates courts, both Mengo, Masaka, Lira, Arua, Araali, and those are doing well. But particularly for Mengo, we have had a very good response. We have had over 100 people coming to inquire about the procedure, and of all those 100 people, we have issued them demand notes. Now, for those that have filed, so far we have had a filing of 30, and out of those, the defendants who have responded are 10, and for all those 10 we have finished the cases. We have delivered judgments in all those 10, and some of them, the success was that the people came and admitted the amounts that they are owing, and we were able to enter consent, so that was a very positive response. Some of them did not admit and they defended the claims, and still, as a appellate court, was able to listen to all the parties and deliver judgment instantly. So those are some of the successes, and we have seen it's cost effective. Even the parties remain cordial, because it is not in like this other litigation. Yes, we don't have cross-examination, we don't have people abusing each other and tearing each other down. So that is one of the advantages that we are having in the scheme, and we believe as we go on sensitizing the masses, the response will be higher than we have now.
And what are the nature of claims that you have received so far in Mengo?
The nature of the claims we are receiving, especially now, sales of motor vehicles. We have several of them who have sold vehicles around town and they have not been paid. We have also had some few landlords coming up to say have not been paid for some period of time, and we have dealt with those where tenants are not able to pay for one reason or the other. So basically, then we also have friendly loans. There are so many people going to colleagues and friends and acquiring friendly loans, and we all know the economy is not doing well, so most of them are not able to pay up in time. So those basically friendly loans, car sales, and some few landlord and tenant disputes have come up.
Listeners, this is Spectrum on Radio 1 tonight. Should the judiciary adopt the small claims initiative, and how exactly will it help the public to receive justice? Our guest tonight is Worship Araali Muhiirwa, Chief Magistrate and Assistant PRO of the Judiciary, and His Worship Vincent Mugabo, Chief Magistrate of the Mengo Magistrates Court. You will be able to call in and contribute to this discussion. Mr. Mugabo, can you take us through the eligibility for one to lodge a claim? Who qualifies to lodge a claim in this small claims court?
Thank you. For one to lodge a claim, you must be a natural person. So for that reason, you have to be a natural person is a human being. So if you are trading under your company name, say you are giving out a loan under your company name, then you would not be eligible to participate. But then, of course, the claim must be as a civil claim, which is not more than 10 million. Then the other aspect you have to look at is the nature of this claim. If you are coming to court and say, I've been defamed, for instance, that is not allowed in our small claims. If you have a case against government, say you were manhandled, malicious prosecution, or all these, those would not be available under the small claims. If it is a family dispute, you want to petition for divorce, you want to manage an estate, as much as it is 5 million, you want to verify your will, those are not available under the small claims. Contract of service and contract for services are also still exempted, so that's why we are limiting it to ordinary commercial disputes, which don't go beyond 10 million.
Mr. Araali, talk to us about experience in other places. We've heard about Mengo. Talk to us about Araali and Kaba.
I've been privileged as the Assistant Public Relations Officer and specifically in charge of small claims procedure.
Yes.
I've been able to go to other areas other than Mengo to see how the exercise is being implemented. I was in Kabale, and in Kabale the procedure is very successful. You know, in Kabale, these are people, if they have cases, they tend to quarrel. With due respect, they tend to quarrel. But under this procedure,
settle it there.
I think, with due respect, under this procedure, we found out that it was friendly. The magistrate promoted friendliness, and at the end of the day, all those claims that had been filed, because by 2 weeks ago, in Canada they had filed in January alone 87 cases, and out of this 87, about 45 had been completed, and in the coming week they were fixing another 30. So it is successful. I was in Mbale, in Bugis region, and I even went up Sironko. The exercise is successful. What people are saying is the timeliness of the judgments.
Yes.
Number two, the issue of the court promoting alternative dispute resolution. Number three, why they make this procedure is that this adversarial type of litigation is minimized. It is only the magistrate who has power to ask questions. So these questions that litigants usually ask each other
during cross-examination
is not allowed under this procedure. It's only the magistrate who has discretion to ask questions for clarity. Of course, he's usually descending the arena, but for purposes of clarity, he must ask questions. But you are saying this gentleman has said this. Can you clarify on this one? So, of course, in Mbale, so far the exercise is very successful. In Araali, the same. In Muhiirwa, the same. And in Masaka, the exercise is going on.
Yes, Mr. Mengo, talk to us about the attitude. How do you think people are receiving it? Is it something they welcome, or is it something that has a life, or is it something that could be short-lived? Talk to us about that.
Thank you. For the people who have benefited, I believe they are appreciating it, but we need a lot of sensitization, because one of the challenges we have noticed is people are reluctant to sign on court documents, and that is a setback, because normally people don't understand what court is all about. So we have had the instances where people are very reluctant to sign court documents, but when we call them and say, this is a simple matter, come and we help you to resolve it, the turn-up has been good so far, but we shall need more sensitization so that they feel that this is their people's court, and this is a court that will help resolve their disputes at minimum cost and minimum time.
There was a time one had LC courts, where the formal court system and the LC court, so this one would fall somewhere in the middle.
As a way of procedure, yes. The process is very minimal, and in fact for us in the small claims we have provided all the documentation. So you come to court, find all the documents available. What you need is to provide us with the information, and we fill in those documents for you. We have process servers who are also helping people to serve this process. If it is a summons that is issued by court calling the other party, and you believe you are not yet on talking terms with the defendant, court can assist you and take this summons to this person, and then get us a feedback through an affidavit of service which is already on record. Even for us as the magistrates handling the scheme, we don't take time to write judgments, because the form for the judgment is already there, the form for the court order is already there, and you agree with the people and say, this is the amount you owe the other people, how are we going to pay it? And then you sit, discuss the payment schedule, they both sign, and they go away peacefully.
So it's a swift process basically?
Yes, that is it.
You're Chief Magistrate of Mengo. Give us an idea. How many small claims would you handle in a day, besides your mainstream job?
For the time that we handled most of them. It took less than 30 minutes. We handled 7.
7 in 30 minutes?
Yes.
That's record.
Because one is some of them were able to consent and say, yes, I admit this amount of money. So what was left with court is to enter judgment for the plaintiff and then request the payment schedule. And then we only had 2 who had come with 2 witnesses each. So it was, because there is no cross-examination, you have already read the documents they have presented to you, so you allow them to highlight what they really need from you, and when that is done, you are able to give your judgment instantly.
This is Spectrum on Radio 1. We're going for a break. We'll be back to stay tuned.
You are losing your MTN number if you don't register by the 28th of February 2013. They're going to cut it off with Papa, and you'll be there. Contactless, numberless, identityless. Basically, you'll be finished. Do you know what it means when you lose the number you have had for years? The number everyone knows. Kat, if I were you, I would go and register now. The time is up. Go and register now. I said register before the 28th of February 2013. Register now.
Make time now and register your MTN SIM cards before 28th of February 2013. Dial *197# to check your registration status.
MTN. Everywhere you go.
Excuse me, what is this 300 shillings on my bill for?
That is for the tinted candles, madam.
And this 100 shillings?
That is for the air conditioning.
And this 200 shillings?
For the blue walls, ma'am.
I can't believe this!
Why pray for what you don't use or ask for? That's why we at Standard Chartered are introducing the Easy Go account, the first current account of its kind that gives you complete control of your banking charges. For more details, visit a Standard Chartered branch or call 0414 340077.
Would you like to leave me a tip, please?
There are those who sit around waiting for things to happen. But then there are those who make things happen. Take a closer look. While some people follow trends, there are those who set them. While many people dream of what could be, there are those who make their dreams a reality. While some people make a name for themselves, there are those who also leave a legacy. These people have a unique drive that enables them to make things happen, and they all choose a beer that has a unique ingredient, crystal malt, releasing the richer, full flavor that makes Nile Gold Uganda's true premium lager. Nile Gold, beyond the ordinary.
Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90.
Welcome back on Spectrum. Tonight, should the judiciary adopt the Small Claims Initiative, and how exactly will it help the public to receive justice? Our guest tonight is Worship Araali Muhiirwa, Chief Magistrate and Assistant Public Relations Officer of the Judiciary, and his Worship Vincent Mugabo, Chief Magistrate of the Mengo Magistrates Court. He will be able to call in and contribute to this discussion. Mr. Araali Muhiirwa, can you take us through this procedure once again? How do you lodge a claim and what happens?
Maybe before I go to that, His Worship Mugabo has told us that it is a natural person that can go to this court to claim. However, we want to emphasize that a company can be sued in a small claims court or under small claims procedure. But the rules provide that when the corporate company is appearing before small claims procedure, it will send a representative, an authorized representative of the company,
not a lawyer,
not being an advocate. So that one should be noted. In other words, we have been having questions in the field. The people have been asking us, if I have a case against Radio 1, what do I do? Can I sue Radio 1? Radio 1 is a very big company. Yes, Radio 1 can be sued in the small claims, under small claims procedure. But when Radio 1 is being represented in the small claims procedure, it will send an authorized representative. That person should not be a lawyer. Number two, people should understand that under this procedure, advocates are not allowed to practice there. So it will be the claimant and defendant before a magistrate, claimant and defendant before a judge. So the advocates are excluded. There has been questions on issues of representation as a right. When we are in the formal stages of developing the small claims procedure, we sat down with Uganda Law Society and we looked at this procedure. And the Uganda Law Society, when we had in Bali, gave us a go-ahead. We looked at all issues, and that's why we came up with the small claims procedure. I will just add to this small claims procedure is not the first one in this country. It is not an innovation which has been done in this country. Other countries, other jurisdictions have this procedure, and it has worked very well. In Zambia, they have very good experiences. It's operating and it's being implemented. It has been implemented for over 10 years. In South Africa, since the end of apartheid regime, they introduced it. It is operating. It is being implemented successfully. So we are not the first country to implement it. And when we are still studying it, we sent our judicial officers to go and see exactly what happens in Zambia, what happens in South Africa, so that those good practices could be included in our own rules. And that's what exactly we have done. So even in South Africa and in Zambia, advocates are not allowed under this procedure. Cross-examination is not allowed under this procedure. And the cases are debt collection, debt recovery, friendly debts. So in the African culture, when I'm giving you a debt, I don't need to put it in writing. Although now the community, our society is getting sophisticated. That's why we are also appealing now that among our sensitization, in our sensitization program, we're asking Ugandans to learn
to write.
Whether somebody is your friend, whether he's your relative, whether he's your moko, please start to learn to write agreements. It could be a simple agreement, but let it be in writing.
Well, you said, take us through the process very, very briefly, and I would like you to clarify for us. You say you can serve someone, you can notify someone by phone. Can you also do that through the internet, email, for instance?
So far, the rules provide for the demand notes. It is in writing. The summons is in writing. The claim form is in writing. But it also provides for telephone for purposes of demand.
How about email? Because you can
that one, the rules are quiet.
But still it's writing. If I sent you an email, I have written to you.
The rules are quiet on that one. Maybe the practicing judicial officer, who is also Mugabo, the chief magistrate of Mengo, could have come across such a situation. But so far, the rules provide for demand notes should be in writing in a prescribed form, which we provide free of charge, and the rules go ahead to provide for telephone services, that you can call somebody and say, Mr. So and so, you either pay me or I go and sue you under the small claims procedure.
Oh, my eyes turn red. Mr. Mga, talk to us about your own experience.
Normally in our court procedure, we are developing jurisprudence on emails. This is one area that is developing. We have some precedents coming in from the commercial court, but you know, the kind of the personalities handled at the commercial court are different from the people envisaged in these small claims. So we may not at this moment have the capacity to have these people serve their colleagues through email, because these are landlord-tenant. You don't expect them to have this kind of contacts. They are not on Facebook, they are not on Skype, so we don't expect them to have developed that technology. But yes, as we progress this jurisprudence, as technology also improves and we have these IP laws that are being applied, maybe in future that is one area that we may go to.
Talk to us about the capacity of the courts. You said you'd adjudicated at one occasion 37 cases in 30 minutes. Does the court have the capacity to do this continually?
Yes, we have the capacity to do it continually, because one, as a judicial officer, I'm not required to do a lot of reasoning like I do in the other judgments. It is just a simple form where my judgment is, say, these are the reasons. And my reasons could be, I have believed the plaintiff because he has given me this document which shows you receive amount of money X, and therefore I enter judgment for the plaintiff. And like in the procedures where I have to give my reasons, to raise the issues, to raise the law and the rest, this is not in the small claims. So that gives us an impetus to handle these matters as quickly as possible. We take record of all the proceedings like any other court, and then we also determine the number of witnesses, because if all the witnesses are going to give me the same story, then I don't need to listen. But which is not in the other normal procedure, because there you list your number of witnesses, and we shall give you an opportunity to lead all these witnesses, whether they are telling us the same
20 and they saying the same thing. You'll hear them all out.
Yes, we don't want to be fair to all of you, but now that we know that, what difference is this gentleman going to testify on? Is he going to say he was a witness? We have already had 2 of them telling us they are witnesses to this, so we have no contention that this agreement is already on record, so we would proceed to another level. So that makes us have the capacity to handle as they come.
This pilot has been on since last year. What next?
What we have decided to do in the judiciary is that we piloted this project in November. It has been operational. Now, on 1st March 2013,
this week, on Friday,
at 2:30 p.m. at Imperial Royal Hotel, we are introducing the small claims procedure to the corporate world, to the government officials, to the ministry officials, to the agency officials, so that they can know that we are having this program operational. On 6 March 2013, we shall introduce this procedure in the form of a court opening day, in the form of sensitization to all members of the public at Mengo Chief Magistrate's Court. Members of the public are free to come and attend this function. They'll be able to get materials concerning this small claims procedure. We shall give them an educational lesson. We shall take them through the procedure itself. They also see the court in operation, the small claims procedure court in operation, so that they can learn by them seeing what happens in a small claims procedure court. They will also have an opportunity to ask questions, any other questions concerning this procedure, and maybe any other questions. How different is this procedure from the mainstream? The mainstream. This is the first track. What about the other track, which has been existing for ages? What are disadvantages and advantages? So on 6 March, let the members of the public, especially the ones in Kampala and surrounding areas, come at Mengo Magistrate Court at 9. We are going to begin sharp at 9. And the function will take only 3 hours or 4 hours, from 9 to 1, and everybody will be going back home. Then for the investigators, the high-profile people in the country, the ambassadors.
That's on Friday or
on Friday.
This week.
Yes. Those ones we have invited them at Imperial Royal. We shall introduce this program to them so that they can know that it's a new procedure, and when they get summonses from our courts,
they will understand.
They should understand that when they are being represented there, they don't send advocates, they send an authorized representative.
Let's talk about what happens next. You've done these 2 events. What happens? You have 5 courts right now countrywide operating. What's the future?
We are planning, number 1, to extend the pilot to some other 4 magisterial areas, and thereafter we shall be reviewing media this year to see how far successful this exercise has been. Then from there we shall roll out throughout the country.
You will take it through the country?
Yes, please.
Do you have the money for it?
First of all, we have, it's not about money, it's about personnel. We have the magistrates, we have the clerks, we have the interpreters. Now, we have the materials, this documentation, the demand notes, the judgment forms, the claim forms, the summaries. So it will require little money to implement nationwide.
Well, but if you have it doesn't cost a lot of money. From 5, just roll it out countrywide.
No, we want to go step by step. We don't want to rush.
All right, Mr. Mgabo, talk to us about, before we hear from the callers, the listeners, talk to us. You said mostly so far people sold their vehicles, landlords, and friendly loans.
Yes, please.
How do they do it? You get the form, you take it to that person. Take us through that procedure again. It's a new thing. Let's hear it again.
Yes, what happens is that when you come to our court and you give us the information about your claim, the first thing we give you is a demand note. That one is signed by you. It is not even signed by court, much as it is released by us. This demand note gives the other opposite party 14 days within which to respond, and you respond by either paying up the money, or if you don't pay, then after 14 days this person will come and inform us that this gentleman was served and he has not responded, and therefore we put in a form. Now we register the case formally by putting in a claim form, and then 2, we give you the summons. Now these summons will still be giving this gentleman or lady 14 days to pay up or to put in his defense. When he comes and gives us his defense, we shall also avail him those forms. They file the forms, and then the case is now ready for hearing inter partes. We shall call them, we listen to them, and we deliver our judgment. And after delivery of the judgment, we expect an agreement on how the payment will be done. And the law allows us to inquire on the capacity of this individual to pay. If he says, for instance, I'm a car broker, I may not be able to raise all this amount at once, we inquire. And what is your capacity? How much can you bring? And then we find a middle position and say, yes, we want this money to be covered. For instance, if it is 2.1, there is one I completed recently, the amount involved 2.1, and I said, how can we cover this amount in 6 months? So by paying 360 per month and the last month 355, you would be able to cover the whole amount, and it was agreeable by both parties, and that's what we did.
And the cases, and if I cannot serve the other party.
Yes, if you cannot serve the other party, that's why
some of them vanish. They switch off their mobile phones. They tell you they've gone they've gone abroad on important trips.
Yes, now yes, when we have to because service has to be personal. If you can't trace this person, because who will you be looking for? So what we do is we tell them to wait until they are able to identify, and also to use our process servers. If it's a person in an office, you make sure that this person goes to that office and serves, because we need a confirmation, we need evidence by form of an affidavit that actually this person is there and has been served and has acknowledged service.
And if they vanish, they claim to be, you can't, they send dogs to their gates.
There you have a problem, because we would wait for that service. But what we have seen
in the newspaper?
No, we have not yet gone for because it's very expensive for a small claim, because you know the press how much they charge for that. So we have not yet gone for substituted service in small claims, but we hopefully, what we have a problem we have is people refusing to acknowledge service. But when we have proof that they have been served, the court can enter a default judgment against you.
This is Spectrum. You can call in now. Our number 0414 348 111 0312 260 390 0312 261 390. When you call in, please tell us your name and where you're calling from. Mr. Araali, most of the people who don't want to pay, are they poor men or rich men? Or is it?
No, I wouldn't say they are poor men, but
some rich men don't want to pay.
Yeah, in institution programs I have been in those barazas. Many ordinary people say that rich people don't want to pay poor people.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Why? That's criminal.
I have it.
They will go to hell if they.
I have it recorded. I have it in writing. So what we are encouraging Ugandans, when this rich man is giving you a job to do,
let him sign.
Let him sign somewhere.
They're not honest, some of them.
Because some of them are not honest,
despite their big bellies.
Yes. Secondly, at the same time, also encouraging these ordinary people, when it is poor to poor person, let them also do some writing. Otherwise, we shall continue having these disputes day after day.
Rich men not paying poor men. Spectrum, hello? Hello. Yes, your name? Hello, you're live on Spectrum. Your name? James. Okay, we'll hear that as is that a common complaint? Lawyers cheating? Some people?
Yes, it is possible. I have one defendant who I have noticed that the name is for an advocate, so it's possible.
It's possible for them to cheat. How do they do it? Or you can sue a lawyer.
Yes.
Take them.
It's an individual.
If they've collected money and they have not passed it on.
That's true.
But you can also sue a company.
Yes, that's true.
So you say the judgment is swift. In case you pass the judgment and one party is not satisfied, can they appeal?
No, there is no appeal in the small claims procedure. The decision of the court is final. The only remedy you have in future, in case you have new evidence, the law allows for a review of this judgment, but there is no appeal process. So the court that handles you is a final court.
And give us some experience of the 100 claims that you received in Mengo. What happened during the pilot study?
We have received the main notices we have issued are over 100, but those who have now formally filed are about 30. So we either expect that they have compensated themselves, which we want to call these people and verify why they have not come back, because the demand note is giving you time to pay. If you are not paid, then you come back to court. So we want to understand those who have not come, have they been paid? We expect some could have been covered, but then those who have failed, we have been able to summon them and we have dealt with them, and we are still continuing to deal with those cases.
And you said the response is good. You think most of those could probably have settled?
Yeah, that is the idea we have, but we need to make some few calls and as a sample to know what is happening.
To confirm what could have happened?
Yes.
Mr. Araali, you say it's something that can work. You get the summons, you take them to that person. If they can't serve it themselves, they can come to court, so you give them an official to do that.
Yes, please. We have trained our process servers, our clerks, who can help these ordinary persons to serve these papers. You see, when some of these people have these days, they become very hostile. Number one, they become hostile to the claimant. Number two, they become hostile to the court officials. They become hostile to almost everybody. So, some of them are very abusive. So what we are doing, where we get such a scenario, we tell the claimant that instead of you taking these papers yourself, let our court process server take the papers. Because the court process server knows the procedure of serving court papers, knows how to write an affidavit, to show an affidavit, and give contents as to how he served the papers.
And his affidavit has more weight than another person because he's a registered government official.
No, if the affidavit of service is by you or by me or by court, they all have the same degree. Right. But when it comes to explaining that affidavit, I went to say to Rwanda from this man. He was seated at his home. He was introduced to me by the local council official, all that. So our police servers know that procedure of explaining the affidavit, what transpired when he took the court documents, which would be difficult for an ordinary Mwananchi, and more so when he's illiterate, more so when he's not sophisticated.
So it's easier, sometimes it helps. If they can't do the service themselves, they can get a court clerk to help them.
Yes, please.
And how long does the whole process take again?
The rules provide for 14 days, and that process should not exceed 14 days. And actually, the whole process from the time the matter is filed in court, formally,
yes,
shouldn't exceed 1 month.
Within 1 month, it's settled.
Yes.
You do other things.
And when the parties come, the magistrate is enjoined to settle that matter and give judgment there and then. The importance of this procedure is minimizing costs, litigation costs, minimizing going up and down, minimizing backlog. Sometimes back I came here and talked about backlog. We are trying to minimize backlog. Because if we took these cases in the mainstream court, then you are creating more backlog. And yet, these are cases which can be settled between these ordinary people.
Right. Yes. Mr. Mengo, can you get a case that has delayed, has been, on the file for a long time from the formal court process, and bring it to the small claims court? Is that possible? That close it in the other court and then you bring it down.
That would be a bit costly, because when you withdraw, then you withdraw with costs. So you pay costs in that matter. So what we advise is, this is an optional window. We tell you, if you want it fast track, please come here. But if you want other remedies which are not provided here, if you want costs, if you have interest, if you want damages, then you have to go to the mainstream. But closing it then means you still have to incur costs of that, however much time it has taken, and then you cover those costs and then you come back here. So we are not advising people to close those ones, although if it has not gone very far, if you have just filed and you note that there is a small claims where I could have proceeded, that would be better, because there are no costs implications.
And what if the litigant cannot pay? I'm not sure if I'm using the right language.
Yes.
If the person against whom you brought the claims cannot pay
after judgment?
Yes, after the small claims court judgment.
Then we extrude that judgment.
How do you do it?
We do it through yes, that's one option. Attachment and sale is one option. Imprisonment as a civil debtor is another option.
Or you can imprison that person as a civil debtor 6 months.
Yes, because it is a court matter, and the court cannot act in vain. Meaning that the court cannot sit there, take a decision, then people just walk around with impunity. So we can attach and sell. We can even attach salary incidentally.
You can get salary.
For instance, who's a worker?
How about bank accounts? You said some rich men don't want to pay poor men. You can attach their bank accounts.
We can attach their bank accounts. We can garnish their bank accounts. That's number one. We can attach their salary where they work. We can attach their property, vehicles, TVs, a carpet, anything movable.
Some of them drive around in Porsche cars, but they don't want to pay.
Those Porsche cars, the moment they are pulled and taken to the house, the government is there. Then they'll pay up.
I've seen some of them. They are rich. They have all the money. They drink wine at home with lunch and dinner, but they don't want to pay small.
This time they'll pay. Oh. That one we can assure you.
You've got them while it hurts.
Yes.
And you'll embarrass them, of course, if they refuse.
For us, as of course, we don't intend to embarrass people, but we encourage people to settle those claims without going through the embarrassment.
Which cases, Mr. Mengo, talk to us about cases that are exempt. Which claims cannot be taken to small court procedure?
One is you cannot sue government under small claims procedure. You cannot sue for defamation. You cannot sue for validity of a will, for instance, or management of an estate if you want to claim for that. If you want to petition for divorce, if your marriage is not working out well, you cannot come and say, I want to divorce this person and therefore I'm requesting you to help me under a small claims procedure. So those are some of the exemptions that we have. So we want to remain as commercial, as civil in nature for all the claims that we bring up.
And you have to keep it down to earth.
Oh yes.
That's why you live out.
This is a people's court, so we want the people to be involved and handle their own disputes.
That's why you're living out the lawyers.
That's true.
Even when you sue, you say you can sue a company if it's a company that's paid not.
Yes, but you need to get somebody to represent the company, not as an advocate, but either a director or a secretary to come in the name, and your arguments are not the arguments of an advocate, but the arguments of
an ordinary person
representing that company.
Not big books on the table, opening pages here, pages.
No one has that time.
Really?
Yes.
And you say you settle them there and then.
That's true.
Because look here, somebody is saying you bought my bull.
Yes.
In the market. Mukazi was there, Okra was there.
And the two men.
Why do you want books? Why do you want these red books? You only need the magistrate to say, okay, people, you cool down. If you took somebody's bull and you have not pay that amount of money equivalent to that bull. Why do you need all these books? In other words, we are trying to promote justice at every level, beginning with the lost person, an ordinary citizen, your mother, my mother, your uncle, your moko, that ordinary person, illiterate, with a small shop in Endeavour. That's what we are trying to do. And those people deserve justice, and they are the majority, incidentally. They deserve justice. They are the majority.
They are the majority.
Yeah.
And you mentioned rich men stealing from poor men. They should also start to pay. They should learn manners and pay.
Yes, they should learn manners and pay. Otherwise, they don't get services for free because those are not controlled way. Don't you pay somebody to build your house as a mansion for a job of 1 million and you don't pay. Don't tell somebody to wash your car every weekend and you promise him to pay him after the end of the month, and he has been washing the car every weekend at 50,000 per weekend, and that is 400,000 and they don't pay.
The honeymoon is over for those.
Yes.
Some of them drive big
because we are going to sensitize those car washers, we are sensitizing the builders, we are sensitizing in your window, we are going to sensitize the railway. So those people have been taking those days and they are not paying because they are bosses, because they are big, because they are rich. The time is up.
The honeymoon is over. We have to go. Thank you very much, dear guests. His Worship Araali Muhiirwa, Chief Magistrate and Assistant PR of the Judiciary. Thank you for coming to Spectrum tonight. And His Worship Vincent Mugabe, Chief Magistrate of the Mengo Magistrates. Thank you for coming to Spectrum tonight. Thank you for tuning in. I've been your host, Edmond. So Spectrum will be back tomorrow. Up next is the news.
Some say I was born to run.